Good afternoon, I'm Milton Walker with the Midday News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can download the One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1 followed by the words Spot and Media. Classes have been cancelled at the St. Andrew Preparatory School on Cecilia Avenue in St. Andrew following a shooting on the school compound this morning. The principal said it happened about 8:45, shortly after devotions ended. She says a man not known to anyone at the school was accosting a female parent when another parent, who is a licensed firearm holder, intervened. Shots were fired, but the principal says no one was physically harmed.
We started exams yesterday. There were no exams today because no child would have been in a mood to sit an exam based on the earlier occurrence. So the exams have been cancelled for the rest of the day. The parents have been asked to pick up early. We did say 12 noon, but we have been allowing parents who came earlier to take their children home. Tomorrow we will not have exams, but school will be in session. What we need to be providing for the students tomorrow morning, especially, is continuing with the emotional support. I do not believe our children will be ready for their exams tomorrow. So exams will be cancelled for tomorrow.
She says exams might resume by Friday, as all exams must be finished before the school breaks for the Easter holiday next Wednesday. As for the incident,
a school campus is never the place for any kind of resolution of any dispute. Our children must be the first thought because we're here to protect them.
a high school principal is this afternoon calling for more social intervention programs to address the growing violent incidents among students. The principal of Tarrant High School, Paul Hall, said more corporate-driven intervention programs are needed to supplement the formal teaching and learning process in schools. He stressed the need for those programs to help address issues such as anger management, which he says affect the behavior of students and often lead to violent and even deadly outbursts. He was speaking at the recent launch of phase of the Rebirth project, which targets at-risk students. A participant shared her experience.
I usually idle a lot, like I didn't want to go to classes. I usually school and go into the bathroom. Mr. Brooks and Mr. All searched for me and said, "Don't waste my time. You need to go to class," and all that. But no, I settled down.
I pray for wisdom and discernment for each of you in here, that you can observe and you can know when a child is crying out for help, and you don't just write them off as a bad child, or you don't write them off as a troublemaker. They need your help, and most of all, they need your prayers.
Monique has since received a scholarship and cash award under the project. Phase 4 begins this month with students from Tarrant and Norman Manley High Schools. Students, as well as their parents and guardians, participate in 8 weeks of workshops which help them to deal with conflicts and improve parent-child communication. 2 men are dead after what the police say was a shootout along the Salt Spring Main Road in Green Island, Hanover last night. The police say about 8:30 last night, a team was doing spot checks along the main road when 4 men on motorcycles fired at the cops. The police say the team was forced to take cover and return fire. According to the police, 2 of the men were shot and killed. The police identified those killed as 22-year-old Orlando Tavares and 31-year-old Vincent Murray. Both were unemployed and were from Crawl in Hanover. The other 2 men escaped. Klansman gang leader Tesha Miller returned to Jamaica last night after being deported from the Bahamas. He was brought back by a team of detectives from the Criminal Investigation Branch, CIB, which went to the Bahamas yesterday. Miller is expected to be questioned in relation to gang activities in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. Investigators want to charge him under the anti-gang legislation. More than 100 persons were killed in internal gang feuds between rival factions in the Spanish Town-based Klansman gang over the last year. Miller was held in the Bahamas last week after eluding police for several months. He was charged with entering the Bahamas illegally. He was deported to Jamaica last year after serving time in a U.S. prison for illegal entry into that country. Another battle appears to be brewing between Culture Minister Olivia Babsy-Grange and her opposition counterpart Lisa Hanna over the country's independence celebrations. During her contribution to the sectoral debate in the House of Representatives yesterday, Ms. Hannah claimed that there has been excessive spending on activities for Jamaica 55, the anniversary of Jamaica's independence. $440 million has been allocated for the Emancipation and Heritage Week celebrations this year. That's $191 million more than last year. Ms. Hannah questioned whether government procurement guidelines were obeyed and queried if the purpose of hiring a consultant to organize the celebrations.
What's the purpose of a consultant when the JCDC has a board with a clear statutory remit? When will all of this end, Mr. Speaker? Are we supposed to see a Jamaica 56 Secretariat next year? The truth is, perhaps the role of the JCDC board, Mr. Speaker, has been usurped. No one with any management knowledge would appoint a 31-member board.
Ms. Hannah maintained that a culture of spending is apparent in the government and challenged Prime Minister Andrew Holness to justify the need for the Jamaica 55 event.
The public is asking, why is there a Jamaica 55? Why is it a milestone event? Didn't the Prime Minister say we must be disciplined in managing our own fiscal affairs and better manage the tax revenue that we raise? If the invitation and even the reminder to the Jamaica 55 launch at Vale Royal is anything to go by, this year of independence will be a grand affair. May I propose to the Prime Minister that he begin with Jamaica 55 in exercising the newly conversion to fiscal discipline.
In a subsequent statement to the media, Culture Minister Olivia Grange described Ms. Hannah's claims as irresponsible and rejected the allegations of wrongdoing. Ms. Grange says she will provide a comprehensive response in Parliament on the matter. Tourism Minister Ed Bartlett says the government is working to boost the country's capacity to receive more luxury cruise lines at the non-traditional ports. In his sectoral presentation to the House on Tuesday, Mr. Bartlett noted that Jamaica is poised to become the leading cruise ship destination in the region.
Cuba is preparing a number of ports to become ports of call. And Jamaica, because of where we sit in the Caribbean, will benefit from not just calls to Ocho Rios now, not just calls to Montego Bay, the traditional, but calls to Port Antonio, calls to Kingston, and we can establish new ports in Aracabessa, in Black River, as well as in Lucy.
He added that there will be significant earnings for citizens.
I really want to have a quiet discussion with this Honorable House on the whole business of transforming the production and consumption patterns in tourism to enable inclusive growth so that more of the people of Jamaica are put in a position to absorb the demand that tourism gives, keep the dollar here, and enable enrichment of our people.
The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation has started to secure the space around the halfway tree clock in St. Andrew. Deputy Mayor Winston Ennis confirmed that work has started on a barrier so people cannot get inside without permission. The move comes in the wake of Saturday's fire at the base of the clock, believed to have been set by a mentally ill man. The man is alleged to have been living inside the clock. The Deputy Mayor explained how the KCAC would fix the damage.
By Wednesday of this week, we're going to be cleaning out the clock and we'll be putting in a temporary door there, a temporary door to make sure that no one can get inside there to start another fire. A temporary metal door will be there by Wednesday evening this time.
In light of the increased number of medical emergency cases being taken to the Noel Holmes Hospital in Lucy, Hanover, the management says it needs help to cope. More emergency cases are showing up at the facility because people are being hurt in violent and motor vehicle crashes. Director of Nursing Services at the facility, Nurse Gillian Mason-Quarry, believes that time has come for improvement so the hospital can provide specialist services.
We have to transport them to Cornwall, so we would need additional ambulance to assist with some of the emergencies that we get, and also we'd like our operating theatre to be up and running. Because some of these cases would not have to be transferred. We have nurses who are trained professionals here who can care for these patients.
She says the move is also in line with the Health Ministry's drive to improve the quality of service for patients.
Talk about universal access. to care, the patients would not, relatives would not have to be traveling to Cornwall, which is additional cost to them. So the patients could be cared for here, and their relatives could visit here, which would be providing better quality of care and improving access to services here.
Time now for a look at what's coming up in this evening's Health Report.
In the next edition of the Health Report, we look at personality disorders.
The antisocial personality are most common in men. Women have what we call borderline personality. They have very unstable relationships. They think they have fluctuation of mood.
That's the Health Report this evening in Primetime News. And now for today's healthy living tip. If someone you care for has a personality disorder, it is possible the person does not realize it. You may not be able to convince someone in such circumstances to seek help, but it may help to openly and honestly share your concern. If the person at any point attempts or succeeds at harming you or himself, seek emergency help immediately. If the disorder is severe, you may be required to make decisions for such persons until they are well enough to do so on their own. Treatment for these disorders is a team effort.
In sports, a confident Sakima Mr. Smooth Mullins begins his quest for a second Rare Navy Contender Series title when he faces Canadian Winston the Punisher Matthews in a junior middleweight clash on Wednesday's opening night of Season 7 at the Chinese Benevolent Association.
One of the most popular local-based boxer will step into the ring for the start of the 2017 Rare Nephew Contender Boxing Series. Sakima Mr. Smooth Mullins, who won the welterweight title in 2014, has stepped up in weight from the 147-pound to the 154-pound division to fight Canada's Winston Matthews. The Canadian fought as an amateur in the light heavyweight and middleweight divisions. Mullins tipped the scale at 152 pounds, 1 pound lighter than Matthews, who has promised to outbox his opponent.
Size-wise, yes, but, you know what I mean? God gives his toughest battles to his strongest warriors. He definitely has a, naturally, physically, he's a bigger person than me. But, you know what I mean? The name of the game is boxing. It's a sweet science. So it's going to boil down to skill.
Matthews, who lost the 10 pounds over the past 2 weeks, says he's ready to punish the former contender champion.
So just water weight, packed it already back on. By the time tomorrow comes, I'll be feeling great. I feel great right now, but I'm going to feel double great tomorrow. Punishment. That's it. Punishment and letting that hard work pay off. I've done a lot of talking already. My talking's done. I'm about to fight tomorrow. That's it. I just want to fight now.
And both coaches are happy with the condition of their fighters for Wednesday night's opening contest.
He works out twice a day, and he's ready to go. He just came off a fight not too long ago, so we've been ready for a while now. Yeah, I've watched a lot of footage on him, and he's got some skills. And we've been working on a lot of different things, so we're prepared for him.
Sakima is in good shape. You can recently recall that he just came off a 12-round fight with Lawson. Yeah, I know he's well prepared for this. And it's all about just skill over weight right now. That's what we're going to use for this.
The undercard starts at 8:30 p.m. with the main event to be televised live starting at 9:30 p.m. on TVJ. Renard Brown for TVJ Sports.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Milton Walker. Join us at 7 for Primetime News on behalf of the sports, news and production teams. Good afternoon.